The first thing that I'd say to your Waynes is I can't lie to now. There's nothing that I could tell them that would get them in good jobs that don't exist. That's the problem. I told you 1 in 5 jobs in this country pays between £25,000 and £35,000, and we know who monopolises those jobs. There's only one thing that we can do is create more industries, and fast. Now the key thing here is, one thing I do want to say is, this isn't a generational thing. Clever politicians, which is all politicians, clever politicians stroke their chin, they always talk about why things take time. What I'm going to say is, Attlee created the welfare state, the NHS, a massive house building programme, and nationalised large chunks of the industry in 5 years. Thatcher undid it all in 5 years. Politicians or political parties or nations with the will to do things can turn it around fast. We're going to put out a paper soon on 21 industry sectors that Scotland could develop, and some of them could be day 2 of independence. We can get house building, not the old house building, modern high-tech house building like the Germans do. We could get that started in day 1. We could get energy technology installation on day 2, and then we can start doing things like saying, what about biomass, what about land-based industries, what about a whole host of manufacturing building industries that we could do fast. That's the only way that I could look at, away from a working class background in the eye and say, I can see a decent future for you, is the truth. I'm just going to say one thing. Just imagine this: drugs, prison reform, immigration, the whole squad. Just imagine what it'll be like when we don't have the Daily Mail. That's the problem. The politicians are all scared of common sense if the Daily Mail decides it's no common sense. I don't even know if they'll keep publishing, but we can certainly make sure they don't have the same market share. And then we can have a real serious shot at addressing the drugs thing. You picked the right point, it's the profitability. Take the profit out of it. That's the problem. We've got to de-profitise the illegal drug industry in this country. Who are these MPs in the Labour Party? Well, I mean, who knows? Where did they come from? But the same is true of the SNP. Politics has become a closed game. You become a politician by working for a politician. That's how politics works now. We are the most, there's so much I've not been able to talk about tonight because there's so much going on. We are the most centralised country in the developed world, below the least democratic country in the world, below national level. We've got a local authority in this country that's the size of Belgium. How the hell is that local? I live in Lanarkshire. I'm 35 miles to my local authority, and folk in Hamilton send folk out to knock schools down in Mattoon, which nobody in Mattoon wants to knock down. We don't know who the hell they are. They want to put car parks in places they've never seen. There's no local democracy, but it's got another crucial problem. In France, in every election, 1 in 78 members of the public stands for election. In Scotland, it's 1 in 2,000. Politics is a thing that's done by people you don't know in places you don't see. Every other country's got decent local democracy, and that offers a platform because, one, it helps women get into politics, because the current model doesn't help women get in. Without local politics, women find it much harder to get into politics. And even more so, working class people find it hard to get into politics. We hear a lot about there's no women in politics, and that's true. There are no working class people coming through and getting into politics. So we have to create a political system which enables people to start locally and build up the knowledge and the skills to become national politicians. And as for Spain, we'll boot at the EU. I mean, if rules had anything to do with anything, Germany and France would have been thrown out of the EU years ago for breaking the deficit pact, and America would have been thrown out of the World Trade Organization for subsidising its internal farming market. The world doesn't work in rules. The world works in realpolitik. We will be outside the EU for as long as Spain can afford its fragile fishing industry not to have access to our waters. It will be out the EU for as long as we can afford to put every single EU citizen in this country on EasyJet and send them back to their countries where they won't have jobs, which they've got here. The Spanish are all here working. There's 40,000 Spaniards in Edinburgh. That won't happen. As soon as they don't need the entire northwestern territorial waters of the European Union in European Union control, we'll just say to them, well, we'll make a pact with Russia then. How do you feel about that? They can help us patrol your northern borders. That's not going to happen. And if that doesn't work, I say, let's offer Spain our 9% of Gibraltar back.